Good morning, VC. It's Sunday morning. I could hardly wait for my feet to hit the floor this morning because I was so excited about doing this video in response to Robert Walker's video on comparing 20 or 40 different artists, pairing them up against each other. It's genius. I think Robert has started a pandemic. I'm going to call it Covidio 20. A lot of people are catching it. First, poor Shannon D got it, and she passed it on to Mazzy. And then Rachel, the Music Man, got it. I watched Rachel and Robert's and Shannon's and Mazzy's video, and I'm feeling the effects of it this morning. So, Robert, this was a freaking genius idea. I think everybody's loving it. So here's my my 2 cents worth. By the way, I keep thinking I have such a low budget channel. You know, I'm sitting in a chair here. I got a ladder to hold my iPad up, and I push the start button. I have no pause. I have no control. I have no editing. Whatever I say goes. However stupid I look, that's the way I look. However smart I look, that's the way I look. What you see is what you get. So if you like low budget entertainment, you're on the right channel. And anyway, I thought I needed to come up with a theme song, so that's why I started with the hat and that. That's my new thing here. So this is Bela Fleck and the Flecktones' Flight of the Cosmic Hippo. Bela is probably the greatest banjo player on earth. And Victor Wooten, the bass player, is probably the greatest bass player on earth. So if you're looking for something cool and different, Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. Awesome band. Anyway, enough of that. On with the video. First, Beatles versus Stones. Tough one. Stones, Monobox. Where do you start? What a great collection of music this is. Beatles. What a catalog. Okay, so here's my thoughts. First of all, the Beatles burst on the scene. I was 11 years old, fell in love immediately, have been a fanatic ever since, for now, 56 years. So they hold a special place in my heart, there is no doubt. The Stones. Here's where I think the Stones are better than the Beatles. Unfortunately, the Beatles, when they toured, sound systems were just horrible. I think they were playing in front of 16,000 people through a Vox amplifier. I don't know if there was any other kind of speakers or anything to assist the sound. Not to my knowledge. The Stones, I think they kind of pioneered the arena shows, starting in '69, I guess, probably, with that tour that ended up at Altamont. After that, I mean, '72, where I saw them for the first time at Maple Leaf Gardens. You know, the sound was pretty good, and they put on a big arena show. Then I saw them a few times in '75, kind of followed them around a little bit. Toronto, Buffalo, Montreal, I don't know, few anyway, and saw them again a couple of times more. But so the Stones kicked the Beatles' rear ends in terms of live performance. One of the great live acts of all time. Musically and culturally, the Beatles were more leaders than the Stones were. Beatles were trendsetters. The Stones, I think, followed. So when Sgt. Pepper's came out, the Stones did you know, Satanic Majesties, Let It Be, Let It Bleed, just the whole thing. It was always kind of a black and white thing, bad cop, good cop, you know. Anyway, love them both. The Beatles are my favorite band. Stones are right up there in the top 5. But I got to go with the Beatles just because my heart and is more into the Beatles. But man, that's a real close one. You could make a great argument for either of those bands. Next, Byrds, Doors. Byrds, Doors. Oh great, I pulled a Buffalo Springfield album instead of a Byrds album. They're right beside each other. Pretend this is Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds. And here is one of the Doors albums, LA Woman. The first Byrds album and the first Doors album are both essential albums and both killer debut albums, and both, I don't know, like, how can you choose between them? I think the Byrds was more influential in terms of starting the folk rock craze, or at least putting it out there more than the Doors' first album, which was just great. I mean, but so I'm going with the Byrds because I think they influenced more people than the Doors did. Next, Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. I have to go with Peter Gabriel because I have 0 Kate Bush music in my catalog, have not followed her career at all. As a matter of fact, the only Kate Bush I've ever heard is when she does the duet with Peter on the So album for Don't Give Up, which is incredible. It's a great vocal performance. I should really look into Kate Bush. I don't know why I have ignored her, but I guess note to myself, check out Kate Bush, but I got to go with Peter Gabriel. Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder. Oh my God. Okay, 2 of the greatest albums of all time. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. This is a Blu-ray audio copy, which sounds great. Stevie Wonder's amazing Songs in the Key of Life. This is actually the SHM SACD from Japan of this title. I bought this and thought it would be just incredible. It's actually not. It's very lifeless and kind of that. Somehow they sucked the life out of this recording when they mastered it or whatever they did with it for this particular remastered or mixed or whatever they did for this particular version of the album. If I was you looking for this album, I'd just go with a Red Book CD or whatever great vinyl copy you can find, but stay away from this one. It's not that good, but the album itself is just, I mean, one of the great albums of all time. Both. I gotta go with Stevie Wonder, just because I have more albums in his catalog. This is the only Marvin Gaye album I have. I love a lot of his stuff, but I'm just going with Stevie because I've been a bigger fan. Okay, U2 and Echo and the Bunnymen. U2 is a funny band. They started off really good. Loved the early stuff. Joshua Tree was a phenomenal album. It seems over the years, I think they've kind of lost it. I don't listen to U2 at all anymore. Could care less if I ever heard them again. I'm just bored with them. I don't think they have anything new to offer. It'd be interesting if they would come up with something different. Yeah, I've just lost it with U2. I'm not too familiar with Echo and the Bunnymen, but I'm going to pick them over U2 because U2's just disappointed me how their career has gone. So I'm going with Echo. Wings and ELO. I'm not a big ELO fan. They got the hits. I'm a huge Beatles fan. Love McCartney. So, I mean, this is great. The only ELO album that I love is El Dorado. This is a great album. All the other ones kind of bore me. I'm just not a big fan of them. I know Jeff Lynne has done some great stuff, a lot of great production with George on Cloud 9 and Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever and Wilbury's stuff and whatever else. So I've got a lot of respect for Mr. Lynne, but just never really warmed up to ELO as much. But I do love this album, El Dorado. So, I mean, Paul's one of my heroes. The man keeps putting it out there. From McCartney that he released in 1970 to Egypt Station, which came out last year, which is a really strong album. Love Paul, so Paul gets that one. Wings. Joy Division and the Smiths. I almost have to plead the fifth on this. I have a Smith's Greatest Hits CD, and I've listened to it like twice, and I just can't get into it. I have friends who love the Smiths, and for some reason I just can't get it. Joy Division. I saw a documentary on Joy Division on HBO or something a while ago on Crave, and it was really interesting. So I'm going with Joy Division. Next, Iggy Pop and Lou Reed. So I am not a big Lou Reed fan. I have tried forever to like him. I just actually recently bought the Velvet Underground and Nico album with a banana on it, the Andy Warhol album, and I'd never heard it before in all my life. It came out, what, in the late 60s? I don't like it. I took it over to my buddy at Zap Records and said, here, what do you give me for this? Like, I just know I'll never play it. I like certain Lou Reed songs, but for the most part, I'm just not a big fan. I bought the Transformer album thinking, I got to get into it, and it's not bad, but it's just not something that's going to get much love in my house. Iggy Pop. I saw Iggy Pop in Edmonton, Alberta in 1986, open for the Pretenders. It was a pretty good concert, and Iggy put on a pretty good show, so I'm going with Iggy just based on that. Love his version of China Girl, too. Okay, next. Elton John and Van Morrison. So, I've been a Van Morrison fan since Brown Eyed Girl, Blowing Your Mind. After Weeks is one of my top probably 5 albums of all time. I saw Van on the Astro Weeks tour in 1968 or 69, I can't remember. This is an album he put out, I'm going to say maybe 6 years ago. He redoes the whole Astro Weeks album live at the Hollywood Bowl. I love this freaking live album. It's great. He doesn't do the songs in order, but he does them really passionately, really well. Great band, really great album. But Astro Weeks, one of my favorite albums. Elton John, over the years, kind of bores me too. I don't think he did anything good after side 1 of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. That's it. From Benny and the Jets on, I'm done with Elton. And the first few albums were great, but I never listened to them. The only one I would pull out and listen to, if I was in the mood, would be Tumbleweed Connection. That's his most brilliant album as far as I'm concerned. So I got to go with Van. That gives us the 10. So while I was thinking this over, I came up with a few more that I wanted to throw out there. Some of these are tough. Lennon and McCartney, solo artists. How would you pick between those two? So McCartney, I think, over time has proven to be the better musician, the more interesting artist, and has put out a lot more quality songs. I can't say albums because it seems like every Paul album, there's very few that are great from start to finish. There's always a couple of duds on there, but I mean, for the amount of music he's put out, wow, there's a ton of great music out there. And with John, I love Plastic Ono Band, which was still a killer album, and I love Walls and Bridges. But the other ones, I find some songs on there just sound dated to me and just, I don't know, a bit boring or something. John's my hero in life, and saddens me to say that, but I listen to Paul a lot more and have much more respect for Paul as a musical artist in terms of a solo career. So I go with McCartney over Lennon. The next one I thought of was Hendrix and Cream, Jimi Hendrix Experience. Great 3-piece blues-based rock band. Cream, same thing. How do you choose between those two? So I saw both bands live. I saw Cream at Massey Hall in 1968, I think it was. Yeah, 68. Amazing show. Loved it. And I saw Hendrix in 69 at Maple Leaf Gardens. So both live performances were fantastic. Love both shows, and they're great concert memories for me. Album-wise, I mean, did not both bands just blow everybody away with their albums? I mean, Are You Experienced came out, and Hendrix was just incredible, and those 3 Experience albums, Axis Bold as Love, Are You Experienced, and Electric Ladyland are just incredible, but cream, fresh creamed Israeli gears, wheels of fire. Man, God, that's tough. I don't even know how to pick that. I'm going to say Jimmy. Sorry, Eric and Ginger and Jack, because I love you. Okay, we'll just maybe try one more. How about Bob Dylan and Paul Simon? Both arguably the two greatest American songwriters in pop music history. I have Dylan up on a pedestal with the Beatles, so I'm going with Dylan. But Paul Simon, man, the songs that guy writes, wow, he's not holding the back seat to Bob in any way, other than Bob just for some reason is my favorite artist along with the Beatles. So I got to go with Bob. Anyway, I'll just leave you with those three extra ones. I appreciate you doing this, Rob. It was kind of fun. I hope everybody. I don't think there's any cure for COVID-20, so we're all going to have to live with it for the rest of our lives, which means I think we're going to have to do more videos. That's the only thing that'll keep us safe. So thank you very much. Take care.